Behind center distance, BCD. The distance that the shear point of the bed knife is behind the center line. Baroness says that the cutting performance of a reel mower changes greatly depending on the positional relationship between the reel and the bed knife. There are several dimensions that make up the positional relationship. The most important one is the BCD. This is the one that many people, including myself, have been wanting to be able to determine for many years. And many years ago, I came to the conclusion that the bed knife attitude, which is the angle of the bottom of the bed knife in relation to the baseline, is not directly related to the BCD. And for years after that, years after I came to that conclusion, I tried to figure out a way to judge or determine the BCD and failed. And earlier this year, I spoke to Brack Crouch about this several times, and he told me that the BCD could be calculated. And I was skeptical and I dismissed it, probably because I had tried so hard to figure it out and failed. And after he insisted that it was possible, I finally put my ego on the shelf and asked him to explain it to me. And something remarkable happened after I shut my mouth and opened my ears, and that is that he explained it to me. And this is what he explained. I'm going to slide this down and show this triangle. He explained to me that there is a triangle here from the axis of the reel shaft to the shear point and to this point on the center line, which is perpendicular to the center line, and parallel to the baseline. So let's focus in on that triangle. I'm going to call this the triangle of aggression. And during my years of searching for a way to determine this BCD, I never saw this triangle until Brack pointed it out. Now it's plain to see since I've removed all of the clutter. There are 3 sides to the triangle. The BCD. Usually the BCD is near 0 all the way up to about 0.400, a little less than half an inch, or it could be even more than that. Another side of the triangle is the hypotenuse, which is I'm going to label that side as the radius from the axis of the reel to the shear point. And then from the axis to this point, I'm going to label that as side B. This is a right triangle. This is 90 degrees. This angle is obtuse, and this angle, which I believe it was Brack that coined the term angle of aggression. Now, since this is a right triangle and we want to find this, the length of this side of the triangle, we only need to know two other things about this triangle. And we already know one, that's the radius. We can find the radius by finding the diameter and dividing that in half. We can even estimate that. There are other ways to find the radius. Regardless, that's easy to do. And then we discussed that if we could measure the angle of aggression, then we would have all the information that we need in order to calculate the BCD. So after thinking about this, the light bulb went off in my head, and this is the light bulb. It's a center finder. This working edge of the center finder fork, just like any other center finder, bisects the V angle. So if the fork is pressed against the shaft, the working edge is going to embody a line from the axis that radiates out. And to find the angle of aggression, we would use a device such as an angle finder or protractor, and we would zero that device either using the working edge when it's vertical or perpendicular to the baseline, or some other device. And then we would move the working edge over to touch the shear point of the bed knife. And that is how we find the angle of aggression. We can also, since we have those two bits of information, we can also calculate the dip. But I'm going to omit that for now. And when we do our calculation, there are several ways to do that. You could use a calculator with trigonometry function. You could find an online calculator. You could use a pencil on a piece of paper, like I do. You could use a trigonometry slide rule. These basic trigonometry functions are 10th grade math, and these are a daily exercise that's done by carpenters, machinists, engineers, and now turf equipment managers. And I strongly recommend when you measure this angle, also measure the attitude of the bed knife. And you can see for yourself that whether or not the attitude is a good indication of the BCD. And I think that you will, sooner or later, you'll agree with me that it is not. And when you measure this and document these dimensions, I will have a PDF spreadsheet that I will try to include with this video that you can download and use to document all this.